So good evening, everybody, and welcome. Thank you so much for coming. So the May 25th, 2022 meeting of the Long Branch City Council will now come to order. Roll call, please.
Mr. Dangler is absent. Mr. Vieira?
I am here.
Mrs. Wittes?
Here.
Dr. Selly?
Here.
And Dr. Vogt?
Here. All please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So I just want to make a comment, and I know that we're all so sorry that we have to keep making these comments, but I do think we just need to acknowledge that all of our hearts and our prayers are with the families of both the families of the horrible incident that happened in Texas and horrible incident that happened in Buffalo. You probably have heard, just as I have on all of the news reports, you know, people are saying, I'm tired of doing a moment of silence, and it's time for action. And just for us to acknowledge that our thoughts and our prayers are there. So with that, now I'd like to read the mission statement for the City Council, and that is that the Long Branch Mayor, City Council, and Administration are committed to cultivating an environment of mutual trust and respect that values the diversity of our community. We will strive to enhance the quality of life for all who live here by making Long Branch a desirable place in which to live and prosper. We'll treat all members of the public with respect and expect the same in return. And if we could have the certification, please.
I hereby certify that this meeting has been published in the newspaper in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act and posted as required by law.
Thank you. Presentations. Armani Gillespie, are you here? Armani? There you go. Armani, come on up to the podium if you would. For those of you who are here perhaps for the first time, let me tell you one of the things that we have started doing. We actually like to take a moment to recognize the Heritage Month that is happening. This month for May, we actually have two populations that are being recognized. And one of the special features is that we have a student read the resolution for us. And I think you will be as pleasantly surprised as we all are every single meeting with how outstanding these students are. So Armani Gillespie is going to read the resolution for us. Let me tell you a little bit about this outstanding student. Imani Gillespie, she is 13, but only for a day or two more because this weekend you're turning 14. So we wish you happy birthday.
Thank you.
Imani, now listen to this. Imani goes to the Long Branch Middle School where she runs track. She is a straight A honor student, and she strives to become, oh, go ahead. And she strives to become a successful artist in the future. So it's all yours, Imani, if you would start to read the resolution.
Thank you. Whereas the people of the United
All right, move the microphone a little bit closer.
Whereas the people of the United States join together each May to pay tribute to the contributions of the generations of Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders who have enriched the history of the United States, and whereas the history of Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders in the United States is inextricably tied to the story of the United States, and whereas the Asian American and Pacific Islander community is an inherently diverse population comprised of over 45 distinct ethnicities and over 100 language dialects. And whereas there are approximately 21 million residents of the United States who identify themselves as Asian and approximately 1,500,000 residents of the United States who identify themselves as Native Hawaiian or other Pacific Islander, making up nearly 6% of the total population of the United States. And whereas the month of May was selected for Asian Pacific American Heritage Month because the first Japanese immigrants arrived in the United States on May 7, 1843, and the first transcontinental railroad was completed on May 10, 1869, with substantial contributions from Chinese immigrants. And whereas there remains much to be done to ensure that Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders have access to resources and a voice in the government of the United States and continue to advance in the political landscape of the United States. And whereas celebrating Asian Pacific American Heritage Month provides the people of the United States and Long Branch with an opportunity to recognize the achievements, contributions, and history of, and to understand the challenges faced by Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Mayor and City Council of the City of Long Branch that they hereby recognize the significance of Asian Pacific American Heritage Month as an important time to celebrate the significant contributions of Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders to the history of Long Branch in the United States. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Great job. Great job.
Thank you.
Good. Let me just make another comment for those of you. I think we've all been hearing about Asian American Month, Asian Pacific American Month throughout the month with different messages. And one of the messages that really struck home for me was the idea of starting to turn the page against hate. And I just think that's such an important message for all of us as we recognize the contribution of so many people who have made Long Branch in our country all that it is. And when we start with our youth, right, that's how we start to turn the page. So outstanding, outstanding. So our second group for tonight is actually the Haitian resolution. And this time, we're going to have one of our council members read the resolution, and this is Councilwoman Rose Wittes.
Good evening. Whereas Jean-Baptiste Point du Sablé, a Haitian, built the first permanent settlement of what later became the city of Chicago, Illinois in 1779. And whereas on January 1st, 1804, Haiti declared its independence from France to become the world's first black republic and the second democracy after the United States. And whereas Mayor Joseph Savary, a Haitian, was the first black major in the United States Army and led the 2nd Battalion of Freemen of Color at the Battle of New Orleans on January 8, 1815, under then General Andrew Jackson. And whereas in 1889, Frederick Douglass, the period's foremost spokesman on human rights and prominent leader of the anti-slavery movement in the United States, became the first United States minister and consul general to Haiti. And whereas over 1 million persons of Haitian descent now live throughout the United States. And whereas Haiti, the only republic to rise from a successful slave rebellion, inspires pride, solidarity, and self-reliance. And whereas the last Sunday of May is commemorated in Haiti as Mother's Day, and whereas the 18th of May is Flag Day, the most celebrated holiday in Haiti, and is observed by people of Haitian descent throughout the world. And whereas May is an appropriate month to establish a Haitian American Heritage Month, now therefore be resolved by the Mayor and City Council of the City of Long Branch that they hereby support the designation and recognition of a Haitian American Heritage Month in the city of Long Branch. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. All of these contributions to our beautiful city and to our beautiful country. It's an honor to recognize them. So moving on with the reading and approval of the previous minutes, I need a motion to approve the minutes of the May 11th, 2022 meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call?
Mr. Dangler is absent. Mr. Viera?
Yes.
Mrs. Wittes?
Yes.
Dr. Selly?
Yes.
And Dr. Vogt?
Yes. Consideration of ordinance, public hearing, and final consideration of which there are none for tonight. Ordinances for introduction. This is the first reading of Ordinance 11-22, entitled An Ordinance Designating a Stop Intersection at John Street, intersecting with Henderson Avenue. The summary of what this ordinance is all about is the ordinance designates a stop intersection at John Street, intersecting with Henderson Avenue. I need a motion to introduce on first reading, advertise, and post according to law, and set the public hearing for June 8th, 2022.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Dangler is absent. Mr. Viera?
Yes.
Mrs. Wittes?
Yes.
Dr. Selly?
Yes.
And Dr. Vogt?
Yes. This is the first reading of Ordinance 12-22, entitled An Ordinance Amending Chapter 177, Flood Damage Prevention, by replacing and repealing Chapter 177, Sections 1 through 5, and adopting a new Chapter 177, Floodplain Management Regulations, Sections 1 through 3, adopting flood hazard maps and designations and designating a flood plan administrator. I'm going to ask Mr. Jackson for just a very brief summary of that ordinance.
Sure, Council President. This is a boilerplate ordinance that was distributed to every municipality in the state of New Jersey by the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection. And all municipalities, and it originated with FEMA, all municipalities are required to adopt an ordinance this year to be in compliance. Long Branch, as you know, is a municipality that's prone to flooding. We have a history of it here. So the peculiarities or the specific matters dealt with in the ordinance deal with our floodplain maps, enforcement of our building codes as they relate to the floodplain management system, and also for our floodplain administrator who oversees the enforcement and interpretation of all these rules and regs. And we have designated our city engineer as our floodplain administrator. It also has all definitions relating to the floodplain management system. So it's nothing peculiar to Long Branch other than those specific items that relate to our town and maps that cover our town for enforcement as well as interpretation. But it's going on statewide. If you look in the paper, you'll see many municipalities that are publishing the same ordinance this week.
Good, great, thank you, Mr. Jackson. I need a motion to introduce on first reading, advertise, and post according to law, and set the public hearing for June 8th, 2022.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Dangler is absent. Mr. Viera?
Yes.
Mrs. Wittes?
Yes.
Dr. Selly?
Here.
And,
I can't hear her.
A little bit loud, yeah, there we go.
and Dr. Vogt?
Here, yes. This next ordinance, I think we all feel particularly proud of. This statement was made during one of our meetings where it was a recommendation from someone who was attending the meeting, and as soon as we heard the recommendation, we acted upon it. So once you hear it, I think it'll bring a smile to your face. This is the first reading of Ordinance 13-22, entitled An Ordinance Amending Section 117-3, Fees to provide for free admissions to the municipal swim pool complex for Long Branch veterans. We're very proud of this. This ordinance permits U.S. Armed Service veterans who are Long Branch residents free of charge at the municipal swim pool complex with one guest limit. This takes effect the opening of the pool for the 2022 season. I need a motion to introduce on first reading, advertise, and post according to law, and set the public hearing for June 8th, 2022.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Dangler is absent. Mr. Viera?
Yes.
Mrs. Wittes?
Yes.
Dr. Selly?
Yes.
Dr. Vogt?
Yes. Before we go to the public participation part of the meeting, I would like to turn the meeting over to our mayor at this point.
Thank you, Council President. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for being here tonight. I feel it's important to make a statement about the events of last Saturday. I'm assuming that many of you are here because of that incident, but I first want to thank and commend our Long Branch Police Department, who were assisted by the Monmouth County Prosecutor's Office, State Police, and other law enforcement agencies for the professional actions they took during Saturday's pop-up beach party, which had a crowd of about 5,000 people. We've now learned that there are future pop-up parties planned for later this summer. The crowding and capacity limits of those events have led to violent behavior and are a serious public safety concern for our community. We've made contact with New Jersey Transit and will continue to do so to find a solution that does not call for letting hundreds, if not thousands, of people off a train at once, swelling our city to capacity limits. I want to be very clear that these prohibited pop-up beach parties are not just a problem locally here at our Jersey Shore, but also across the state and nationally as well. As I stated earlier this week, our Long Branch Police Department has tracked down the organizers of this pop-up event and plan to prosecute them to the fullest extent of the law. We're also looking into legal action against the responsible parties to prevent the use of social media platforms such as TikTok and Instagram to share posts about the event. And we're actively working on more solutions. We've contacted Governor Murphy's office and have asked for his help. This issue affects the entire Jersey Shore, and we need his assistance to stop it. Over the past 3 days, I've personally spoken to the Acting Attorney General, the New Jersey DOT Commissioner, and our local state senator and U.S. Congressman. Our Director of Public Safety, who's here with us tonight, continues to coordinate the city's response with the head of the state police, the county prosecutor, as well as heads of many other law enforcement agencies. So in just the past couple of days, another shore town, Point Pleasant, has learned of a potential pop-up beach party in their town, and the mayor and I have been coordinating our efforts at a much larger level. We are seeing with these pop-up parties, it's unprecedented. They're unprecedented, and it's a new phenomenon because we believe the rise of social media. This is why we're leaning on so many state agencies for assistance. These gatherings, as many of you know, start as social media posts which entice young people to come to the beach area, mostly here in Long Branch by train. These posts promote drinking alcohol and smoking marijuana in public areas where it is illegal. Unfortunately, the newest social media posts are promoting fighting and more violent behavior. But again, I want to be very clear that people who want to visit Long Branch are welcome. However, the city is not going to be a place for those who will disrespect our city, public spaces, streets, or businesses with acts of violence, drinking, or smoking. The City of Long Branch requires that all formalized gatherings must obtain a special event permit per city ordinance. And in this case, in the case of these pop-up beach parties, that is just not happening and will not be allowed. I'd like to introduce a few people who are sitting here with us tonight. To my right, I have Business Administrator George Jackson, who also is a former police chief. And to my left is Lou Raynone, our city attorney, with 40-plus years of municipal law experience. Finally, I have our Director of Public Safety, who's sitting right there, Domingo Saldita, who was previously the Deputy Chief of the Newark Police Department. And also with us are members of our senior command staff with decades of police experience. I'm now going to turn this over to Director Saldita, and will ask that Mr. Jackson and Mr. Raynone also assist with any questions that the public may have tonight. Again, I thank you for being here. Director Saldita?
I don't know if this is working. I don't think I need that. Good evening, everybody, and thank you for being here, number one. I'd like to start off by thanking the community. Listen, I've gotten some really good reports from the community. I've gotten some really bad reports from the community, but the situation that we encountered, once again, not just this year, but the year prior, these are pop-up parties that are occurring that have started many, many years past, actually from Deerfield, California, and have gone throughout the country. These individuals that create these pop-up parties, they do it for reasons. They want popularity, they want hits on their social media. They really don't care about the citizens of this city or any other city or any other town they come into. They come here to do what they want to do and then leave. I'm sorry, I really am sorry. In law enforcement, for all these years that I've been involved, over 34 years, I've seen some really bad things throughout my career. Excuse me, I've been talking a lot for the last few days. I've seen a lot of bad things in my career, but to see how they descended upon our city here and what they did, there was no way that if you had 1,000 police officers out here, that they were able to control what was happening in the time frame that people were coming in. We were down on the shorefront because we had information from TikTok and other flyers that we may have a pop-up party. We were given 72 hours from that flyer to look with the state police, the county intel units, and everyone else. There was no indication, excuse me, there was no indication at all that the party was going to happen. These folks have gotten very smart with social media and they stayed very quiet. We implemented all our people onto the Pier Village area. There was about 56 officers that were deployed, whether they were class 1s, class 2s, or regular police officers. The morning started off very nice. It was a regular Saturday morning. A lot of people were coming to the beach. The residents from Pier Village were coming down. The establishments were opening up. Everything was running normal. I was on an hour-to-hour contact with our command staff, Lieutenant Cato and Sergeant Levy, that are in charge of that unit. And they just basically said, listen, it's a normal day down here. We don't see anything happen. Well, that all changed around 2 o'clock when the first fight started on New Jersey Transit on their train, with 100 to 200 people on the train coming in from the city of Newark. As those people got off the train and came into Pier Village, I was notified right away. Immediately, we held over our day crew that was doing patrol in the city. So we added an additional 9 officers to the short list. An hour later, we got notified from New Jersey Transit that we had an additional 500 people on the train coming in. This is hour by hour, ladies and gentlemen. There is no way that you can handle that kind of influx coming in that way. At that point, we knew that we were in trouble. We started to call everybody in from our department. We started to call all the people in municipalities around us. You got to remember something. These departments around here are not 500 men, 300 men, 400 men. They're municipalities with 5 guys maybe working in the street. They're not going to give up all their city. They're going to send you a couple if they can. We built up the numbers. We're somewhere in the 80s at that point, and we contacted county prosecutor's office, the sheriff's department, and the outside of the state police. There is a step process in bringing all these people in. They just don't all show up and go over to Pier Village and handle the situation. They come in and we stage them and we put them into places we need them. The people that you've seen out there at night clearing the streets, those people do not go directly to that scene. We hold them back because they're the frontline people that are going to push the crowd out. We had law enforcement agencies come as far as Middlesex County, Corrections Department. We had state police, Colonel Callahan, which is a personal friend, and these, the mayor and folks up on the podium here or on stage spoke to him directly like I did. State police was activated right away. Their ops teams from all over the state of New Jersey started coming down the parkway and coming towards Long Bridge. That takes time. You know, a lot of people in this audience, and there's a lot of people that aren't here that are upset. You have every right to be upset. I'm not telling you you shouldn't be. But I'm trying to explain to the public the steps that we take to make these things happen. Once we are all mobilized, we go in and do what we have to do. Now, the mayor experienced this, the city council last year, when they came out of nowhere and caught us off guard. Last year, they caught us off guard where they were on the side of Pier Village, where the businesses were and residents lived. They got us last year, and we had damage. And we had property damage. We had officers get hurt, other people get hurt. This year, we didn't allow them to go on that side of the street. We took over that piece of property, and we held them. Did they go on the boardwalk? Yes. Were they all over the place? Yes. Folks, they come here to create havoc. They come here to scare you. They don't care at the end of the day what happens. They just leave. Law enforcement has a lot of obstacles that we didn't have years ago that have been put in place for us. But I can reassure you, I come from a large police department where we have more problems than you can imagine in the police department. But I can tell you that the people in this agency, I am proud to stand with them and work with them because they did an exceptional job. Now, I got phone calls from the people that when you go down south from Pier Village, yeah, you have the right to be upset. But remember, we're fighting a war at ground zero right now. We can't go to somebody jumping in a pool. We can't go to somebody fighting on your lawn. We can't give up where it is. Listen, I'm sorry. I really am. I really mean that. But the calls have to come into the PD, and the PD will finally get there once we control where we are. I wish I had 1,000 officers here like I had in the city of Newark, that I could pull 500 from one place and send them somewhere. I just don't. We're a short community. We deal with what we have. We have a 90-man police department that will grow to three more, on June 2nd that are graduating. We depend on outside agencies to help us. What I will say to you, and I will say to this community, is that you need to stand up. It's not local government that's going to fix this problem. It's the state government. It's the federal government. Because remember, those rails are state and federally run. You need to stand up with your mayor and with your city council and make noise in the State House. How are we going to stop the trains from coming in when we know there's a problem on the trains? Everybody has a right in this state and a right in the country to right to transportation and public transportation. But when you look at a train, and folks, my window looks at that track every day. There's not that many people on that train every day. But when you look at a train, it's fully loaded, and it's coming from certain parts of the state, and you look in, don't tell me that anyone who uses this audience or myself would look and want to get on that train to come home. We would make other ways of getting home because you would see that it's not a place that you want to be. So you need to be vocal. You want to yell at me, you yell at me. Listen, I get it. I understand it. I will hold you at this level. But this goes way beyond this level. So I'm here to help you. I'm open. There's people in this audience, I won't name them. They know who I am. I come to your house. How many people give you that in society today? I will sit with you. I will try to figure out what we can do for you. You know, 3 weeks ago, the biggest complaint I had was dogs on the boardwalk and people on the beach and everything else. Listen, that changed automatically.
University.
And you want to know something? We addressed that. We went out there with these folks and people out there. We started enforcement. I started getting phone calls from the director of DPW. Said, I've never seen the dogs off the beach so fast. I didn't see, people taking their dogs and actually getting them on the boardwalk. Are you going to see it once in a while? Sure you're going to see it. People are going to do those things. But what we can have is what we had last year and what we had Saturday. What I will tell you is, I will work tirelessly to make sure that June 19th is not a problem on Father's Day. I will be here in the city of Long Branch, along with these men and women and whoever else we bring on board, and leave my family at home to be here to protect you. That's my job. That's their job. Now, if you want to be mad because it wasn't done fast enough, that's fine. We get it. I'm mad at certain things in my town. But you know what? Please come forward and ask us what you need. If you have solutions to the problem, if you have answers to the problem. I don't have a crystal ball, folks. I'm just a normal guy that's been doing this for a long time. And I'm always looking for new suggestions and new ways to do it. So please, if it's the condo association that's crying, I get it. Listen, you pay a lot of money for these places. If I was living there, I'd be crying too. But I can't help you unless we sit down and come together as one to do the best we can. Anybody have any questions, please feel free to come up to the podium.
Should we hold that for the public comment?
Well, just mention that.
If I could,
Oh, I'm sorry, did I go ahead?
yeah, we'll,
Just follow the procedure.
yeah, we're going to hold that for public comment when we open the public comment part of the meeting. Is there anyone else who will be making a statement?
No.
Okay. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Director Salditas. And at this point, I need a motion to open the public portion part of the meeting for all comments.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
If there's anyone in the audience that has a comment to make, please step to the podium and state your name and address clearly for the record. You'll have 5 minutes and may only speak once. And let me just make one clarification so everyone is clear. If you ask a question and you want that question answered as you're speaking, those are all of that is in the 5 minutes. So to just monitor your comments, accordingly. And with that, if there's anyone who would like to start us off.
Yeah, that's all right. Full 5 minutes.
You get 5 minutes, right?
Full
That's
5
wait.
minutes without responses.
Hi, my name is Deborah Clark, 510 Springdale Avenue. Thank you for everything that the police and everybody that helped us out on Saturday. Unfortunately, it wasn't just the trains, and I got stuck in a lot of traffic not knowing what was going on. So it was the area around 2nd, 3rd, and Broadway, and the CVS parking lot was a zoo. I don't know if maybe one idea might be to try to shut down those parking lots that are off of Broadway because people were flying in and out of them. People were double parked on 2nd Avenue. What should have been a 5-minute run to go pick up my prescription turned into a 20-minute run and almost a couple of accidents. I just also want to make sure that other pop-up parties, not just what is said around Pier Village or the boardwalk, is also monitored, because last year, after the one that happened at Pier Village, a couple weeks later happened in my neighborhood on Westbourne and Springdale, where a bunch of kids descended, there was cars, there was chaos. The police had to come, but once they started moving people away, they ended up on my lawn because I'm on that corner property there. A lot of stress, a lot of anxiety, because one wrong thing said, my house gets trashed. So I want to make sure that the rest of the town is also being monitored for any of this activity that could happen.
And I appreciate that, thank you. And yes, we do monitor it. I can tell you right now that we avoided a low party at 10 Pearl Street about a week before the actual event on the shorefront. They had set up on social media again to have a party at that location. They had rented out the location. They actually went so far to make it seem like it was a normal event that they tried to hire police officers to protect the event. When we found out exactly what was going on and who the promoter was for it, we went to see the owner of the business and we told them that is not going to happen here, and we shut it down. So we do monitor everything, but listen, folks in the audience, you have a lot of kids at home that are on social media everywhere. Some of this stuff is not a pop-up party or a TikTok thing. This is conversation within themselves too. So please, if you have that, we're not looking to hurt your children, but give us the information so we can stop it before it happens.
Thank you.
And Deborah, you're absolutely right. I mean, this was highly unusual in the sense that, people were coming down at the train, but they're also coming down in cars at the same time. And personally, I've never experienced that kind of crowd that went all the way to West End that was walking
I thought it
into
was highly peculiar. I knew it was a
Pier
beach
Village.
day, but I thought at 6 o'clock at night it was highly peculiar to have that much traffic
Exactly.
going on.
And it was north and south because even 7 Presidents Park was packed, almost up to the Monmouth Beach line. So it was really highly unusual. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor, Council, good evening. My name is Dennis Sherman. I live at 510 Ocean Avenue.
Dennis, could you raise the mic just a little bit?
Sure.
Thank you.
I am chairman of the Save Ocean Avenue Committee and vice president of the Long Branch Coalition of Condominium Associations. It's been 4 days since the incident. The boardwalk, Pier Village, the West End. I was on the boardwalk. I sat on the boardwalk with other people from other buildings and residences, and we watched almost violent behavior. I sent out to many of the people that spoke to me. There must have been 20 or 30 calls. Many people sent me emails, and they wanted to know what was going on. South of the boardwalk, they didn't know what was going on. But if you went to Pier Village the next morning, it was clean, the business is open normal, and you wouldn't even believe there was an incident that happened Saturday and Saturday night with very little of almost no violence. I watched these people on the boardwalk, on the road, on the West End, in the Green Acre Parks, go on property, traffic all down the perpendicular streets, refusing to move, blocking people walking. And this kind of behavior was all expressed to me, and I expressed all of this to the town. In the days that followed, I listened to many of our neighbors. And that's why I encouraged people from the Save Ocean Avenue and Long Branch Coalition that if they had questions or concerns, to come to the council meeting. I encourage people to speak up in a calm, professional, positive manner. I ask people to act in a way that is part of the solution, not part of the problem. I ask people not to scream or be accusatory, because we have people like that that detract from what the work of the council and the mayor has been over the last 4+ years. They listen to what people have to say. They are the most accessible group of people that have ever been here. I have been working with the city and the city council since 2002, when there were abatements and attempts to have cars in the Green Acre Parks. There are many good people and many good groups, and many of you are here tonight. And what I asked everyone I spoke to that planned to come tonight to act in a positive manner and not be a loudmouth, accusatory individual. This is only the fourth day since the incident, and many in city government have been working tirelessly from the beginning. And I know this because I speak to a lot of them, and I find out what's going on. We all want the same thing. We want a safe and secure neighborhood and oceanfront. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sherman.
Hello, my name is Allison Mullaney. I live at 310 Ocean Avenue North. I'm a little emotional. This is my first meeting. I've had to listen to our governor say it was a modest amount of small violence. I've heard the news say it was mostly peaceful, only a few fights. I don't know if anyone actually saw the videos, saw the photos, and took the time, but it wasn't peaceful. If it was peaceful, we wouldn't need a 9 p.m. curfew. If it was peaceful, we wouldn't need the SWAT team. If it was peaceful, cars wouldn't have been damaged, trash wouldn't have been everywhere, fights to the point that these people were taking pictures to laugh at how this person was so delusional after being beaten up, they didn't know where they were. I know that you guys are now aware of what's going to be going on in Point Pleasant, as well as here. They have added a $1,000 reward for a boxing match, and we're being told this isn't violent, that this is just a party. It's not. I worked in Long Branch, Pier Village last year. I was a witness. I saw the trash afterwards, the total lack of respect. And my concern is, I visited here before I lived here. I'm blessed. I get to enjoy the beach. I get to enjoy Long Branch 365 days a year. When I was a kid, I looked forward to coming to Seven Presidents Park, couldn't wait. And I don't want to take that away from anybody. I want everyone to be able to enjoy that, but we need to find a way to do it in a safe, responsible manner. 5,000 people in Pier Village is just too much. And these kids are now posting, there's too many of us, not enough cops. Everything that we're putting out there, they're taunting us. They're excited about it. I have brought videos, I brought posts, I brought names that will hopefully maybe help find more people. The promoters are now paying people to continue to promote. There was over 4,000 likes in less than 24 hours. So for me, my concern is it's going to be a lot bigger. And so what do we do? When we go to restaurants, there's the capacity of how many people can be in there for safety. I don't know if there's a capacity that we can put in being in Pier Village. I don't know if we can do that without encroaching on people's rights. And like you had pointed out, everyone was at Pier Village and everyone needed to be at Pier Village. It was scary. But I live right across the street from Seven Presidents Park. Smoking weed, drinking, peeing on our front yards, being completely disrespectful, trash everywhere. I wouldn't want to walk my dog the next day because now I'm making sure their paws aren't going to get cut. But what's even sadder is I have family and friends that I would never want to come to Seven Presidents right now. And that's supposed to be a family-friendly beach. And the spillage over, like the lady before said, 2nd, 3rd, and Broadway was a complete disaster. Being local, I got to the wave and it was like park traffic. And I still didn't know why. And I took the back roads and I was walking in front of cars, no care that I got home and witnessed all of that. I then went to pick up my mom from the airport. And on the way home, like you said, I had Rutgers Police, Carteret, Woodbridge, to name a few, all flying down at 10:30 at night, though, at this point, going to Seven Presidents Park, helicopter in the air. Still unsure what was going on at that point. And as a resident, I would like that information as to what was going on at that point in time. But I am very grateful to our men and women of law enforcement, to our emergency services. I know that you were put in an impossible situation. So I'm not here to, like you were saying, point fingers. I'm here to figure out a way how we can contain it going forward. Because even if you get these promoters, it's already out there and it's going to happen. So I don't have all the solutions. I just am concerned for their safety, and I'm concerned for the people that are coming down to enjoy themselves. Father's Day weekend, I already have people canceling their plans. I'm in the service industry. I work for the Robinson Ale House in Asbury Park. So obviously I have McClune's Pier House, Robinson Ale House, that are in Pier Village, where I had coworkers locked in the building, scared for their lives. But also what's worse is I got to make really great money towards my tuition this semester because it was the first beautiful day. And my coworkers lost money on tuition, rent, bills, paying for their kids.
5 minutes.
Thank you. Again, thank you to the law enforcement, and I'm hoping that if you would take the information I have to further catch the people that are out there.
Absolutely, and thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Teresa Matazzi, 245 Atlantic Avenue, Long Branch. Two things. Number one, I want to say you guys were great. The police department did a wonderful, wonderful job on Saturday night. I really believe so. And if you talk to anybody in town, there isn't anyone saying anything against the police department at all. You guys did an absolutely phenomenal job. Thank you. Thank you so much. My second question is, most people want to know, why can we not stop the train? I don't know how trains work. I don't know anything about them, but why? Why can we not stop the train from coming here to Long Branch?
So,
Can somebody answer that?
sure, I think I'm probably the one that can answer this question, and this
Thank
might be where the director and
Thank
he was expressing his frustration, but I don't
Yes.
think he was really trying to be critical of New Jersey Transit. First thing you should know is we work very closely with New Jersey Transit. They share our information. The only reason we know how many people are going to be on a train is because they're providing it to us.
Yes.
When we put a curfew in place, they immediately begin to notify people up the line that you can't get off in Long Branch. So we do all of those things. But here's the problem fundamentally. They are a common carrier. They're regulated by federal law. They don't really have the ability to suddenly stop the trains. And one of the reasons why they can't stop the trains is because remember what happened at 10 o'clock at night. We were putting people back on those trains to get them back out of the city. If they stopped the trains, there'd be nothing to do. So I know that it's a little bit of a damned if you do and damned if you don't, but that's just not part of the equation. And as somebody said, there were people here who were in cars, and they were here too. We were getting emails from people who, had family members that were in the city who were supposed to come home and they couldn't get home. This isn't, the problem with this is the organizers of these parties, and that's where we're focusing our legal and police attention, and that's what we're going to do. New Jersey Transit, as I said, they've been only cooperative with us. I and the congressman and the mayor were on the phone with the commissioner of DOT on Saturday night in real time. She was talking to us like every 20 minutes, so we knew what was going on. We met with her senior people this morning to talk about what's going to happen next, and we're working on all of those issues. But it's just fundamentally they are a common carrier. Some years back there was an issue in, I don't think it was Belmar or one of the towns further down south, and they put up the drawbridges. Well, that sounds like a really great Rambo moment, except it's not legal and it's not appropriate, and it endangers public safety. And stopping the trains would have endangered public safety because we would have had no place to put people to get them back. Because I don't know a lot about the way trains work, but if they send 10 cars down, 10 cars go back. Well, if they only sent one car down, then only one car is going to go back. So, once again, our partners at the state, from the governor's office and governor's chief of staff, the head of the state police, the head of DOT, were with us every step of the way. The county prosecutor's office. It's a testament to their participation in all of this. And I know it wasn't great, but I also know it could have been really bad. So
So what I think I hear you saying is that the trains are just out. There's no
Yeah,
way
I don't
we can
see
do
that.
There's-
I don't think,
that's not
there is not.
a solution.
Right, and we could waste a lot of time trying to think about reasons why they should stop the trains, and that's not gonna happen no more than are they gonna shut off the exit at 105. They're just not gonna do that. They can't. It's just not, it's not possible.
And just to follow up on what the attorney said for the city of Orion, yeah, it is frustration in my place,
Yeah.
because I'm part of your community, and I'm part of law enforcement for so long that I can't understand why.
Yeah.
But I can tell you that New Jersey Transit is working hand in hand with us. That night, I asked for more, and they actually, it's very difficult to put a train back in circulation, an extra train, because there's ways they operate. With buses and stuff like that, it's easy, you just send more. On the rails, there's only one way in, one way out, and you have to move the tracks from what they call it. But they did put on another train, so we can get additional people out of our city.
So we don't have any concrete plan, or you're working on it?
Well,
I guess the council, you're working on it?
yeah.
You're working on it?
We are, and I'm gonna tell you this, there's always two sides to every part of the way we approach things. There is let's call it the criminal aspect of it, right? We have the county prosecutor's office. Most of us here have talked to the attorney general.
5 minutes.
And I apologize, I'm just, what's not for me? Let me finish. Most of us have talked to the attorney general. All of the law enforcement in the state is completely engaged. We're going to now start to move to take civil action to try to get injunctions, because we do think that there is and we agree with one of the speakers, that there's an economic element to this.
Yeah.
And we think we have to cut that off too, and we're going to move to do that also, because we can move faster as a city in a civil court than the attorney general can move in a criminal court, and that's our next step. So the answer is, we don't have just one plan, we have half a dozen plans, and we're going to do them all.
Okay, thank you for listening.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Joe Renga from 448 Ocean Avenue, Long Branch. Mayor Pallone, city council members. My
Joe,
wife and
could you raise it just a little, Joe? Thanks.
Sure. My wife and I have lived here on Ocean Avenue for 21 years. When we purchased in Long Branch, the oceanfront was pretty much in disrepair at that time. They had run down water park, many boarded up and abandoned houses, and I'd like to applaud both the past and present administration for making Long Branch the destination that it is today. That said, we must address the recent happenings in the city from last year and the one that continued this past weekend with the pop-up parties. And I know, I've seen that you are talking about going after the social media sites, which I think is a fantastic idea. You can shut them down or get them on the hook for damages caused. It would be fabulous. I understand that you know who the person was that started it and came from Long Branch. Is that person a minor?
No, adult.
No, he's an adult.
He's an adult, so you can go after him?
Mm-hmm.
Joe,
Correct.
yes, we're going after him.
Yes.
I don't want to cut into your time here, but yes, he was formerly a resident in this town. He lives in another town.
Oh, he doesn't live here anymore. Okay.
Correct.
Great. So has he been arrested?
Yes, he was. He was arrested that night.
Okay, great. And while we welcome all people to enjoy our ocean front, there has to be some kind of rules and decorum that must be followed. This never would happen when any of us were kids. We wouldn't do it. So these people that come down here, when they come here with the intention of taking over the scene, doing whatever they want, breaking rules, breaking laws of the city, intimidating people, inciting violence, the online videos speak for themselves. It seems as though they want to catch the next great video with no regard as for who gets hurt or what property gets damaged in the process. I implore you to please put an immediate stop to this type of behavior. It should not be tolerated. I think we need to send a message that this type of behavior will be met with law enforcement and any and all violators will be arrested. I have a few suggestions, some of which are a little crazy, but some are not. And you may have come up with them yourselves, but some of these I think should be maybe implemented for the entire beach season and others just for pop-up parties. The beach season ones I came up with were to close the ocean blocks from Ocean Boulevard to the beach once the parking on the streets are filled. Put the barricades up, it's done, because we have people constantly screaming in and out of the street, making quick U-turns. Someone will get hit. It's only a matter of time, but somebody will get hit and it won't be pretty. You have the special police officers. If we could have one at every beach access checking coolers, because the kids that are in the booths, I mean, they don't even ask people to pay unless, if you don't go up and say, do I have to pay? You can pretty much walk on most of the beaches. They try, but they're just kids. They need someone that's going to be out there checking coolers, you know, because they bring glass. Even if it's just soda, you can't have glass on the beach. That's really bad. And the other one would be to put up new signs saying that we do not tolerate, you know, smoking, vaping, consuming alcohol, rude and lewd behaviors, or loud and offensive music. And any and all violators will be either removed from the beach or arrested. As far as pop-up parties go, this is where it gets a little off the wall, so just bear with me. We got these drug-sniffing dogs. Can't you just have them waiting at the train station? When they come off, the dogs go crazy, grab them, throw them, lock them up. You know, I know it's, you know, or just have, or even just have the canine units walking with an officer on the boardwalk. And I'm the one who doesn't want dogs on the boardwalk, believe me. That's my baby, but we need that. You know, people are afraid of dogs. You see an officer with a dog, and that dog, you know, he can do whatever that officer tells him to do. You're going to think twice. And, you know, lastly, years ago, they used to have the paddy wagon.
Please listen to the speaker.
You done? Okay. Years ago, they used to have something called a paddy wagon. Now, maybe it's time to bring that back. Just have a few vans parked on the side of Ocean Boulevard, and you're on the beach smoking pot. Guess what? Bang! You're in the wagon. You're going to get arrested. And then once they start getting arrested and start paying fines and getting records, then maybe something will change. Then they'll start thinking twice about coming down here and causing problems. Like I said, I agree with all of you. We welcome everybody into our town, but they got to be respectful of it. You guys have worked too hard to get it to where it is. Law enforcement's great. No one said anything about the public works guys. These guys were off the hook the next day. They cleaned up. I stopped and asked them, and they said they were out at like 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning cleaning it all up. And you know, they deserve some kudos also, and as well as you. So thank you very much for listening.
Thank you.
Real quick, just to answer a real quick thing that Joe said with some of his advice. He's right on some of the things, but then again, he is right also saying they're off the charts. We are bound by law. We can't go out there as vigilantes. That's why we protect the citizens of the city and everybody else. But I'm more than willing to sit down with you and go over it step by step, so that next time when you come up, you'll actually have the education of what we can and can't do. Well, listen, you got my number.
Can you deputize us?
What's that?
Can you deputize all of us?
Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Mr. Mayor, thank you. It's nice to see you all this evening. I'm a person of very few words, so I'm not going to take up your 5 minutes. We all know that we're not going to keep people from the beach, and the train has nothing to do with it because they're coming here other ways. They're driving their cars, taking cabs, walking. And I'm going to direct my question to Mr. Salditas, because maybe you recall this question that I asked you maybe a year ago when I spoke to you. How difficult would it be when you know, you're aware that these people are coming, and as I stated, it's not just by the train. How difficult would it be to close down the parking lots, block them, and also how difficult would it be to start a blockade on Ocean Boulevard when you know that they're going to Pier Village to do what they're going to do?
I'm sorry, did you state your name and address?
Oh, Christina Presley, 199 West End Avenue, apartment 16.
Thank you, Christine.
You're welcome.
I'm sorry.
So if I can, I'm going to direct you if you don't mind. So all things we talk about all the time, right? And I think I agree with you. It's not New Jersey Transit. There's lots of ways of getting here, but that's a good suggestion. Things like closing down parking lots and doing those things are good. The problem that you have, you guys, you grew up at the shore, so you understand what whack-a-mole is, right? So we close down the parking lots, and half the people in this room are gonna call us and say, hey, everybody's parking on my street. So part of this is containment. Same thing with, we block off Pier Village, Dennis is gonna call us and say, hey, everybody that was in Pier Village is now in front of my condo on a boardwalk. So, and these are judgments that are made by the folks in uniforms here about how to contain best to keep it from not becoming something else. Those are, the thing that you need to be assured of is we go through all of those iterations. You know, they're at a command center on Friday night to the extent that they need an executive order, I'm drafting it, the mayor's signing it, whatever it is that they need. We go through all of those iterations. Should we close Chandler and Map? What should we do? We have parking on, this time we had a lot more parking on the street than the last time, so that was a different issue, and we try to do it, but you're right, that, you know, we had that conversation at 5 o'clock. Do we push people out of Pier Village? But yeah, but if we push them out of Pier Village, we're gonna push them to where your house is, right? That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna push them down south to where Dennis's house is. So that's the problem. But the answer is that there's nothing static about this. We're in it in the moment, and we're in it all the time. And by the way, it's the only thing we've talked about for the last 4 days. So we'll continue to do it. I know that that's not a great answer.
No disrespect, but no, it's not.
I know.
No.
I know. I wish
No,
it wasn't.
not
I
when
wish it
they're
was a better
parking
answer.
on 2nd and 3rd Avenue and walking to the beach. I'm not telling you to start a blockade on 2nd and 3rd.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about parking lots,
Mm-hmm.
not the street.
No. All I was saying is that if we close the parking lots, the people will park in the streets. That's what I'm saying. They'll park illegally in the streets. That's
Well,
the
we're
point.
here complaining now, sir.
Sure.
Let's just put a little thought to it. Time is of the essence.
Got it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, good evening. My name is Joe Kipe, 470 Ocean Boulevard. So, good evening to the mayor and to the city council and Domingo. Listen, I wasn't here this past weekend, thank God. But I was there last year, June 19th, unaware of what was going to take place and got locked in McClune's. And it was a number of people that were there, and of course, you're a little bit scared for some of the people that are with you. And it was an experience that I know we won't forget. We were amazed because we had quite a number of people that were under the age, a couple people that were under the age of 21 or 25, so that age group, everything goes. And we were amazed to find out that, you know, on the news, they were talking about mostly peaceful. I know one of the ladies mentioned that it's not close to peaceful. I had some suggestions and ideas, and Joe kind of stole some of those things, and I know I empathize with any law enforcement today. It's got to be an unbelievably hard task to control this. I saw some of the videos, and I actually saw people throwing bottles at the cops, and it wasn't really mentioned, okay? At the end, they said, well, there were some people throwing bottles, but I know it's very difficult to do this. So I was reading something in the paper, and I saw Governor Murphy said, well, maybe if there's 5,000 people coming to the place to create havoc, we create a space for them to go to. And I thought, well, that's kind of silly. And then I was talking to a friend of mine, and he said, you know, Joe, he lives in Connecticut now. He's in law enforcement, retired. And he said, we used to have an issue like this down at Virginia Beach. He was in Quantico, and he wasn't involved in, local law enforcement. But he said the police department there decided to contain everybody from going to the beach and put an area up that they would go to. And he said they went there, and guess what? There was nobody interested. It petered out after a period of time because they had nothing to disrupt. People were conducting business and doing things at the beach area, and that's where they get their great feeling, is in disrupting our lives and trashing our beaches and then feeling great about it. And didn't we show them, I guess? So I'm just giving a suggestion that besides some of the things that were mentioned, I know that there's other municipalities and beach areas in this country that have experienced this kind of thing, and they're no longer happening there. So maybe we talk to them. Virginia Beach is one of the places he mentioned to me. Now, how many years ago this was, I couldn't tell you. But I started thinking about it, and I said, well, you know what? Maybe there is an area that they could direct these people to go to for their particular party, whatever it might be. And then, if it's true, there's nothing to break. There's just themselves beating up on each other, I guess, not running into police cars and trying to, break windows and things. So I just make that suggestion. I don't know whether it makes any sense, but I think everything's open to really figure out how this can be dissipated. So thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Good. Thank you, Joe.
Hi, Leanne Montano, 79 Norwood Ave. Lived here for a long time. I really just wanted to come and thank the mayor and the council for really addressing this. First of all, in case you didn't realize, we are the last electric stop on the train. So those people have to get off and change trains here. It makes it convenient, right? So this is a convenient place to unload and have these parties. Going to Point Pleasant takes a little more effort, and they're gonna be here anyway. To get to Point Pleasant, you still gotta get off the train here. We can't do anything about that. So we have to look at the logistics, right? And they are daunting. We have narrow streets. We have difficult ingress and egress. I mean, you look at the, evacuation routes. They're tight. So we are really faced with some issues. Talking about the parking lots. The parking lots are a convenience because we expect normal beach traffic. So shutting them down is a problem. Then there's street parking. We have a lot of street parking. We have probably more free street parking than Asbury. Asbury's all paid parking, so you got to get creative there. So I just wanted to be supportive to this mayor and this city council, the safety director, and the police. And I have to agree with what was said before. I rode my bicycle through Pure Village, as the mayor probably could have guessed, on Sunday morning, and everything was cleaned up. People were having breakfast at the turning point. Brunch was going on over at McClune's. It was a normal Sunday morning. There was an arthritis walk starting out down by Rooney's. So what I'm asking for is for people to be supportive. Come to the table with suggestions. I mean, sometimes the craziest suggestion can be watered down into something doable. But we also have to act within the law. And we have to, the mayor and city council have to be law abiding. Otherwise, it's not going to work. So thank you for looking at all of the options and for listening to all the people to get the best possible outcome. And also, thank you for the veterans for the pool thing. I'm not a veteran, but I know that originated somewhere, and that's a great thing. Thank you.
Good. Thank you. Thank you.
If I may just comment on what Leanne said, what she said about the train station is absolutely true. Also, if you think about it going down south on the shore, we're one of the few stations that literally is a 3-block walk to the beach. If you go to some of the other stations, I mean, it could be a mile or 2 miles to walk or even longer. So I think that's, it's the first. Also, exit 105 is also your first, really nice beach stop as well. So I think that, and the previous caller was talking about the parking lots. That is something we look at. I don't remember if it was COVID or the year before when the parking lots were incredibly busy, and so it didn't matter, because whether it was COVID when we closed one of the lots or deliberately kept it closed, or it was a weekend where it was just so busy. Whenever it is, our first aid squad is right around the corner on Belmont Avenue. And believe me, I understand what you're saying about the lots, but again, what happened was people were, a lot of the area in front of the first aid squad is yellowed off. You know, you can't get in there. They literally were not able to get out to go on first aid calls. And then we had people, forgetting about just parking in front of your house, you had people who were parking in the middle of your driveway. Now, clearly, we had that issue throughout the town on Saturday night. But again, you know, as Leanne said, it's complex. It's a difficult situation, and we're trying to do the best that we can. We certainly understand your frustration. I am as well. I mean, we've tried hard in the last, 4 years to do some nice things in the city, and then, a certain, and sometimes it's hard to get that back, so. Sorry to.
That's okay. Good evening. My name is Carolyn Cardona. I live at 53 Dunbar Avenue. I just wanted to come, and it might sound a bit redundant because a lot of these points were previously made, but just considering the train aspect, I know, and I appreciate the fact that, we wanted to get people back out wherever they came from, but maybe, I don't know if this is possible because I know sometimes trains shut down for repairs or for whatever reason, that Friday night after commuting's over, shut it down for the complete weekend so they can't come in to Long Branch in the first place because, as you stated, it is a very convenient location to the beach. And so I don't know if that's one possibility or if you've looked into that. So it's not just a matter of just not stopping there, but just completely shutting down the trains to the beach, because if somebody wants to get there, I'm sure there's like ferries, there's cars, there's other ways of transportation. So that's just one point. The other point is also, I know a lot of the other surrounding beach towns have limited access to just residents. I don't know if that's a possibility because, we pay, for our beach passes every year for our family, and then you have like somebody coming randomly and paying $7, whatever it is, just to make chaos for the day. So, I don't think it would be much loss economically for the city if that's the concern, if limited to the residents, but that's just another thought that I had, and I'm not sure if that's something that you guys have thought of before. And then the other thing, just because I know we did have a lot more car traffic this year than what happened last year, is maybe putting like some spontaneous roadblocks. I come from a military background, and I know like the MPs on post they would do that from time to time, just on the weekends, and especially like on holiday weekends. So maybe that's a consideration, or what the previous lady in front of me said about like, some towns have more like pay lots. Maybe if they have to come out of their pocket more, it wouldn't make it so easy for them to just come down, because it gets a little bit pricey then for them. So maybe some of these factors might help a little bit, even with the street parking all over the streets and people's driveways, maybe employing some tow trucks to get them out of there, because that's another additional cost for them to have to pay to get their car out. They're not going to keep wanting to do this if they have to come out of pocket for it. That's just my thought.
Thank you. Thank you.
So those obviously a lot of ideas that we thought of too, but a couple of things. Once again, I know we keep going back to the trains. There are a lot of people, I know that there were, not good people who came in on the trains, but there's a lot of people who depend on the trains. So you shut the trains down for the weekend to Long Branch, that means everybody who has to get to a job by the train's got a problem. You can't do that to people who don't have access to a car, and it's just not, those kind of things are not possible. You can't wall the place off and do that. Things like roadblocks and other things like that, those are all things that, we kick over to the police department for them to consider. The other part about it is beach access is beach access. It's a 2.5 mile long public beach. We can't limit the public's we can't say that Long Branch's beach can only have Long Branch residents on it. It's not legal in New Jersey, right? We have to have, we have a plan where we have 50 access points because the state requires us to have public access points. There aren't any towns in New Jersey that have public beaches that only allow.
Manasquan was, though.
Excuse me?
I thought Manasquan was limited. No?
You could go to Manasquan day pass and go. I mean, I grew up going to the Manasquan beach, so I know. No, it's not limited. It's not limited to just Manasquan residents. There are no public beaches that are. As I said, we have an extensive plan with DEP that for all of the public accesses that you see, that's because we're required by law to have that. We just could not do that.
And, I understand, like, there's some commuters that still need to take the trains,
Sure.
but sometimes when the trains aren't shut down for whatever mechanical reasons, there's shuttles in place, right? So maybe if a whole group of 100 friends can't come together, a shuttle that could take, a solid amount of group commuters that are actually going to work, coming back, then you can't get, like, these big crowds that are traveling together on one. I don't know.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Vincent Lepore, 33 Ocean Terrace, Long Branch, requesting 1-minute notification. For those here, I've been coming to these meetings quite regularly since 2003. Practically an eternal Long Branch resident. My neighborhood was under siege again in less than 11 months, and I didn't like it. To the people in blue, I was there at Pier Village from 4:30 to 10:30 uploading photos to the Watchdog. When the first pass occurred through the crowd, people were sympathizing for those in blue behind the county going through the crowd because they all said, had we corrected the situation Juneteenth 2021, following that riot, you people in blue wouldn't have been in that position on the 21st of this month, this past Saturday. It was a system failure. That's what it is. Mayor Pallone just recently released a statement, quote, "This morning we met with local agencies to put an end to these nonprofit, non-permitted pop-up parties," end quote. It's an absurd statement, 11 months too late. Just what exactly you and Saldita have been doing in the last 11 months has been a failure since the Juneteenth 2021 riot, because it happened again May 21st, and there's no way out of it. Pallone states, simply put, quote, "Simply put, the crowding and capacity limits of these events lead to violent behavior and are a serious public safety concern for our community," end quote. There's another Pallone absurd statement. As Pallone continued charading, quote, "We have made contact with New Jersey Transit and will continue to do so to find a solution that does not call for letting thousands of people off a train at once, swelling our city to capacity limits," end quote. Various news reports estimated the crowd at 5,000 people. There were for years, as the Link News reported, estimated crowds at Ocean Fest from 50,000 to 200,000 people. Of that 200,000 people at the top end of the figure, one could surmise 10% came off the trains. That would be 20,000. Without question, the many Ocean Fests drew much more than the 5,000 we had on May 21st. And yet, we're being told by Pallone and others that this past weekend's beach party of 5,000 was unmanageable, but 200,000 people at Ocean Fest are manageable? Was there any significant violence at Ocean Fest due to crowd size? No, no violence at Ocean Fest. Then Pallone continues about taking legal action against social media platforms, TikTok and Instagram. That's got to be the stupidest statement anybody's made. He has no legal standing to do it. And then Pallone concludes, quote, "Lastly, we have contacted Governor Murphy's office and have asked for his help," end quote. Since the last Juneteenth 2021 Pier Village riots, Murphy has visited Long Branch numerous times. What is Murphy expected to do now after this second civil unrest that he didn't remedy after the Juneteenth riots of last year? The fact is, the following people, despite their spinning and deflections, are to be held responsible for this past weekend's unrest.
1-minute notification.
Pallone and Council, Saldita, Murphy, Gopal, Linsky, Golden, and the list goes on. Saldita, you need to be fired. Outright fired. My life in this city has never experienced what I've experienced in the last 11 months. Two of the worst events we've ever seen in this city. Juneteenth 2021, you had two significant notices from the watchdogs, 30 days in advance and 15 days in advance, and you blew it. You weren't prepared and we got caught. Since Juneteenth 2021, you had 11 months to prepare to prevent something like this happened. You blew it again. You and the mayor. Come next month, if this city renews your contract, then we truly have, in this city, junk government.
Thank you, Mr. Lepore. Next.
Hello, my name is Joe Giacomo from 69 Ocean Terrace. First of all, to the police department, I'm so happy I live in this town because of you guys.
Can you talk a little louder?
I'm so happy that the police department is in this town I live in. I'm from Edison, New Jersey, and you know what happened there. Second of all, but the mayor, Mr. Pallone, I want to thank you for building up this town the way it looks now and the future I see in this town. But I'm a Republican, and I was going to vote for you. And I still might, because you're doing a hell of a job. But you dropped the ball on this one. I think you dropped it a little bit. We have a lot of discussions on what can we do. I didn't hear anyone here say, what can we do? You guys are not putting any input. About stopping the trains coming in. We're making it so easy. If I was here from TikTok or those kids, I'm coming in. I can get in, I can park, the trains are not going to stop. I can come in. There's no way you're going to stop me. We're listening to you guys tonight. There's no way. You're not going to close the parking lots. Why not? Why make it a little harder for them? Even it might disturb us for one day. If they know they can come in every 1 month or 2 months, they're going to keep doing it until they can't. It's not going to stop. Stop the train. Let the trains come in. They say, well, we can't let the trains come in, but if they don't let them come in, they can't come out. Well, let them come in with no one on them, or periodically have a certain amount of people can get on the plane, on the train. But if you're letting them come in, they know that, they're going to get on it. You're not going to be able to stop them. So make it harder for them. And if they come this weekend or next month, and it's harder for them, they're not going to say, maybe we're going to go back in 2 months, let's do it again. It worked out great. They know this is Armageddon now. They know they did a hell of a job here last time. They're coming back. And you're not going to stop them. You're not. Because your decisions you're making tonight, there's no indication you are. You can't, we can't stop the trains coming. Hey guys, come on in. Oh, we can't stop the parking lots. Come on, park in here. That's what you're telling them. Tell me now, let's think of it. Let's be business people, let's think. Okay, we're letting the trains come in, maybe every other train with no one on it. Let them park, then at 8 o'clock, they're filled and they're going back, if they get in. If they get in. And then you could say, okay, now we could take maybe 200 capacity or 300 capacity of people coming in the next train. So you're not hurting the people who have jobs. But for one day, to stop this, we might have to hurt people from coming in. You might have to suck it up as a resident in this town. They might have to park in your driveway. People were worried, hey, what happens if they park in my driveway? Well, for that one day, if we stop them from parking in the parking lot and then moving in the trains, let them come in the trains, they're going to, okay, I'm going to do it next month. But if you make it a little harder for them, it's not worth going to Long Branch. We could go somewhere else. It's not working. You're making it too easy. You made it easy last year, not your fault. You didn't know what was happening. We knew this time. That's why I think we dropped the ball here. I think everyone did. We dropped the ball. But now their minds are moving. They know this is open. The Long Branch is our town now. And if you don't stop them this time, we're screwed. We're in big trouble. This town's going to burn. And we're all going to be at fault. Not just the mayor, not just him, all of us, because we didn't do anything. We got to put our minds together and think of something. Go home tonight. Think. Let's talk to the transit department, talk to the president, whoever runs it. What can we do to stop them from coming in? Not we can't shut the train, that's illegal. But you can every other train. And if the trains are not, what happens when the trains are not working, when our gates are not working over here? What do? New Jersey Transit lets them get on the buses for free. So work that out. There has to be a way. I just don't understand. You know? But again, with the police officers, you guys are the best. You guys are the best. Okay? And the mayor, you're doing a hell of a job in this town. But we can't drop the ball again. We just can't do it, guys. We're going to be in big trouble. You know, I'm scared for the next time down. I really am. And I feel bad for you guys. I really do. It's not fair to you guys. You know, you guys went through enough this last 3 years, 4 years. Enough. Okay, thank you.
You know, first off, I want to say I appreciate all your comments, and I think you're absolutely right. But here's one of the things, again, and I'm not using complexity as an excuse. It's very easy for us to shut the parking lots, those three big lots. The problem is, I think, if you had a lot of people who are going to come here and pay $20 and go into the parking lot, and then the lots were closed, they're going to move on, or they're not going to come back, or whatever. But when you have an invitation that's saying, come to the beach in Long Branch, right, and they're here, and that's why they're going to that pop-up party, I don't know that they're going to say, oh, well, the lot is closed, let me move on, let me go back. I think they're going to get to that party any way they can, which then means, okay, they're going to clog up our street or
You're going to make it harder for them, and the next time they might want to do it. They don't want to do it next time. It was too hard to park 3 miles away and walk to the beach.
You may be right, and I have no objection.
Hey, if I had to go to a Knicks game, I had to park 40 blocks away, I'm not going. If I can pull up to the Knicks game underneath the tunnel and walk upstairs, it's easy.
Can I share one thing that we went through last year after Juneteenth was for the rest of the summer, we had false alarms every week. All right, there's a game they play. We're going to Long Branch this week. Our people get scared, right? We get ready, we try to prepare, because we can't put 150 cops out there every single weekend. We're going to go broke. We can't shut down parking lots every weekend. We won't have a town anymore. But what's the game they play? It's the whack-a-mole, like Lou talked about before. We get ready, we get the best intelligence we possibly can, nothing. Nothing happens. The day before the day that they're supposed to be arriving, we're moving to Point Pleasant. We're moving to Seaside. Am I right, officers? They went through this last year. So we can't have all of our police, the sheriff's department, the state police, they're going to stop coming. We have to try to be smart, judicious in when we deploy our people. I can tell you for this last event, our people were prepared. The state police has an intelligence unit. We asked them to do their work, right? Director, check out the intelligence, give us the best information we had. Their best information, I don't know exactly how they detect that type of chatter. Their best information to us was, we have no evidence of a credible threat in your town other than chatter about parking problems. But we still had more than our usual complement of people just in case. And this weekend, it hit. You're absolutely right, it hit. We've got more flyers coming out. You've got the 18th in Point Pleasant, the 19th in Long Branch. Where are they going to go? I don't know. So everybody's on edge. It's a really difficult balancing act to keep a town that people can enjoy, not waste all of your tax dollars, and still address the problem. So, you know, the police are doing the best they can. Some of these things, Mr. Renga, the ideas you had about policing, I was a cop in 1976. That stuff all happened back then. And the United States of America said, get rid of the dogs. You can't search people illegally. You can't block people from public access in their freedom of movement, okay? All those things went away, and probably for very good reasons. But listen, we miss some of those things at times, but you can't do them. And Ms. Mullaney, I want to bring up one point you brought up. not so violent, very little violence. It was incredibly violent. We watched a video compilation today that our police department put together from social media. Anybody that thinks that wasn't a violent episode, take a look. Young people were getting their faces smashed in.
You brought it up, our governor of New Jersey said it wasn't a big deal.
Well, you know, if you didn't see certain videos, you wouldn't know.
But then he should do the research.
Well,
He's the governor.
And I'm sure he has since now.
So I'm gonna move us along for the next person. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm Dina Giacomo, 69 Ocean Terrace. I think there's several issues. First, we have to stop calling this a beach party because it was a riot. Let's call it what it was. We're new in the area. We're only here 6 years. It's a dream of mine to live at the Jersey Shore, even though my husband hates the beach. But this past Saturday, I had my 82-year-old mother down. I have a son who couldn't go to the tiki bar. He's 25, just home from college. I mean, we're paying a lot of tax money. I live on one of the best blocks in Long Branch. That's why we bought there. It's a one-way street, which is wonderful. But there were people speeding up the wrong way. There were gangs of people going behind our homes to urinate. I was afraid to go out of my house, obviously. As far as dropping the ball, I think that when it happened 11 months ago, we had to learn something. There has to be something, like my husband said. We had to have learned something that can deter this crowd of people. I read several ridiculous statements that said, well, don't you want outside money coming in? Well, I'd like to know what it cost us in overtime. Helicopters over my house. I'm very friendly with Edison cops, and they said it has to be upwards to $300,000 we spent to try to bring all these other towns in. I don't mind spending that money if it works, honestly. And I don't think we need their money down at our Jersey Shore because all of the restaurants were closed. What are we going to do for Father's Day reservations? We can't go out. I mean, my son's having friends down from college this weekend. He's not coming to Long Branch. They're going to Monmouth Beach. They're going to hang at Donovan's. I guess it's safer there. So, you know, we've had 11 months. We had to have learned something, like my husband said. So what are we going to do now to deter these people from coming here? We can't close the trains. I understand that. But we must have a safety capacity. There has to be a number that is maximum capacity for safety reasons. Now, I drive the Parkway every single day to work. In the summer, I always see those signs. Sandy Hook at capacity closed. I've seen signs on 36, Long Branch at capacity, beach is closed. Why can't we do something like that? I mean, I understand maybe we're going to have a couple hundred people that would have spent a couple $100s because they didn't come because maybe, you know, we gave them a little bit of false information about the beach being closed, but we have to do something. We have to do something. And I know with the social media, whether or not you can lock them up, I don't know the law. I really don't. I have no idea. But now we're hearing that they're not doing it on the 19th. They're doing it on the 18th. Ha, ha, ha. You know, they're expecting us on the 19th. Well, we're coming on the 18th. Is that really able to be monitored to see what posts are actually true or not? I mean, I don't know. But if we can't, we have to deter these people. We have to do something. And we've had 11 months, and not to bash the police because they're wonderful. And I have nothing but respect for police, unlike a lot of other people. But they're throwing bottles and rocks at our cops. I mean, come on. That's. And the other thing is, real quick, we have to worry about people bringing in guns and knives. I mean, we have a crowd of 5,000 people fighting. Don't tell me not one person in that crowd didn't have some sort of weapon. Right? So what are we going to do when somebody takes out a gun and starts shooting at the 5,000 people or at the residents, or a stray bullet hits a kid? One of our kids. You know, this is our town. This isn't their town. And I don't care about their outside money. We have money here. I dropped $500 on a Saturday night at dinner. What did they do, buy a pizza? I mean, come on. We have to protect us. So thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Hildred Woolley, 60 Passaic Gardens, West End. I wasn't going to speak tonight, but I just have one question, a short comment. There was a lot of vehicle traffic. The cars started showing up on my street, I'd say about 11:30. Later that day, I went to Home Depot in Neptune because I figured 36 would have the normal beach traffic. Still didn't know what was going on. And realized coming back, this affects the surrounding towns. So if I lived in Ocean Township and I'm having a heart attack and I call an ambulance, do we have a plan in place to divert people to Jersey Shore? Because there was no way an ambulance is going to get to Monmouth Medical. The traffic was that bad. So that was my question about a diversion plan. Then the other comment I had was about the trash. You know, all during the off-season, I walk the beach with my dog and pick up trash. Can't go on the beach anymore with the dog, so I do it along the roadway. Went out Sunday, it was horrendous down in West End. We're talking Patron bottles, Don Julio bottles. Yeah, like stuff I don't, I can't afford to buy. So I picked up a lot of stuff, ran into some DPW guys. They gave me another bag when I filled up my bag. That was Sunday. So Monday I go out and I figured I'm just going to go for a walk. But I missed a lot because I'll walk from West End Beach to Pavilion and I turn around and come back. We do need more trash cans along the beach, on 2nd Avenue, just even for the regular beach tourist traffic. And really, that's my only comment. And I do want to thank the police department, all the other responding law enforcement agencies. I'm a retired federal agent. I'd like to thank DBW for the work, the cleanup that they had to do. I understand the bathrooms down in West End were a total disaster, along with the trash. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Rice, and you all know me, and I wasn't going to speak tonight. I know I said that, but I was so inspired by some of the racist commentary that I heard, especially from Vince.
Rice, full name and address?
I don't give my address. I've been coming to city council for years. I never give my address. Everyone here knows who I am. I live in West End. I'll give you my name after if you'd like, but people call me Rice. Something that we're not talking about is the very dangerous rhetoric that's coming out of this event. I've been in Stop and Shop, and I've heard people talk about how rubber bullets should have been used on Saturday night. I keep hearing people call this a riot. It wasn't a riot. Last year on June 19th, it was not a riot. I was there for 3 hours, and I have 3 hours of video of you and everybody else starting a riot, causing a stampede with people. I see this year as an escalation of that. I see this year as progression of our county officials furthering their agenda and our city officials coming to that. We have 100 police officers or less here. There's no way that we could have handled that kind of amount of people. Saldia, we've spoken before. You know. I want to play something for you, okay?
They topped that Long Branch Beach yesterday. They protect the safe street. They killed George Floyd. They
What is that? That's a bunch of teenagers from Newark being terrified of flashbangs, smoke. Kids that came down here on the train who live in neighborhoods like that. And yeah, I don't agree with these pop-up parties and the chaos and all of that, but the response this year by the county was way too much. It was escalated, and
excuse me.
And the only people in this town that have a problem with it have a problem because of the makeup of the people that came. And how many city council meetings? How many city council meetings have I attended?
Could you please wait 1 second?
How many city council meetings have I attended where I lived across the street from Monmouth University animal houses where they are smashing bottles, driving drunk, and doing all the same freaking things? It wasn't a crowd of 5,000, no. But for how many years do we do this? Why this year? Oh, and I know you've gotten my messages. Since this event, you know, what's happened with our sheriff? What did our sheriff say when talking about New Jersey tourism at the beach the other day in Asbury? He called on people so that he could start searching minors again. So see all these people clapping. They're clapping for stop and frisk. They're clapping for stop and frisk. How messed up of a town that this has become with the gentrification, that this is what people are asking for. They're asking for stop and frisk. You got nothing to hide except they can stop. You know what? Maybe they don't like beehives, and they're going to say, I'm going to stop every old lady with a beehive.
Rice, keep your comments to
the
council, please.
It's not right.
Okay.
I'm extremely disappointed in you guys for letting the county take the lead on this. There's no way the city alone could have dealt with this. I understand that. But the dangerous rhetoric coming out of this, and that they are clapping for stop and frisk, this is
5
the
minutes.
city that you want to lead.
Thank you, Rice.
Excuse me, I know I have my time, but she has a floor.
No.
You have to sit
It's-
down.
I'm sorry, Joe. Everyone gets their time, and that's it.
He already had his.
Rice, please. Thank you.
Good evening, my name is Michael Irwin, I live at 450 Ocean Boulevard. And I have a question. I'd like to know if we can bring in the National Guard.
No.
Good question.
The answer is no.
Why?
Well, because the governor would have to do it, but the answer is that.
So how do we get the governor to do it?
The
He asked before, you need our help. This is above the local level here. How do we get the governor to get the National Guard in here?
The answer is, well, I'll let the director answer this question, but there were enough police officers that we did it on mutual aid. You're not going to bring the National Guard into a situation like this.
You said before, you don't have the manpower to handle what happened here. It's going to be worse next month.
Was we don't have the manpower.
If it happens again next month,
what he said was
we're going to lose our properties.
No, what he said was we didn't have the manpower in Long Branch, and that's why there's mutual aid, and that's why all of the other departments and the state police and the Middlesex County Department of Corrections, and that's why all of those people respond. So there's a process for doing that. It's not bringing in the National Guard. The answer is no. I don't think so.
Why don't you even pursue it? You just automatically a no.
Because I don't think it's even legal for them to do it.
That's the
You
answer to the
think.
question.
You-
They're not police officers. They're soldiers.
Okay, so then what's the answer? What do we need to ask the governor to do for us?
Well, I mean, we've been going this, we've talked to the
He
governor
said
about giving
before,
us
he
the
doesn't
resources.
have enough manpower, and he's at the.
Correct.
He's at the mercy of the other towns to help
We've asked the governor to
us.
provide us the help from the state police, and we're getting it. That's correct.
Why can't we ask the National Guard to help us?
Because we don't, at first, we don't need to. Second, I don't think it's legal, but more importantly, what the director is saying is that he got the resources. We don't have the resources in town.
He said he couldn't handle it.
Boy, you're just not listening to me. What he said was he didn't have enough police officers in town, our police officers.
Right.
So he called in mutual aid and he got the resources that he needed. Part of those resources, by the way, was the state police. That's why we had a helicopter here in the state police. And we had officers from jurisdictions all around Monmouth County and Middlesex County and the state police. So the answer is we didn't need 10,000 troops from the National Guard to somehow corral 5,000 kids. But same thing.
please,
Same thing. Once again,
please.
what I'm saying is that they had the resources. You're not bringing the National Guard in to do this. It's just.
Mayor, I implore you to get the governor to get the National Guard here, because this town, if this happens again, our property values will plummet, okay? Because no one will come to Long Branch.
Thank you. Let me just make a comment for a second. Please,
President, I'm sorry,
That's the
though.
director.
So, gentlemen, and I understand your frustration and what you want, but the law says something else. The only way the National Guard is called in is if the governor makes a decision that is totally civil unrest and only they can come in and control it. The governor, listen, there's many governors throughout the states that you watched during what happened months and months ago with all these towns and people coming into the towns and taking over those towns, Seattle and other places that they just felt it was theirs. You didn't see those governors call until the last minute. It's when you have no control, it's anarchy. You can't do anything else. You call the military. Ladies and gentlemen, the military is trained to come in and execute. These men and women that wear the uniform throughout the state of New Jersey and the country are trained to protect you, to save lives. The only time they have the ability to fire their weapon is if they're in immediate danger of losing their lives or you are. The military does differently. They are given the okay to go in and stop everything. So listen, even though I understand your frustration in asking for it, we're a long ways from a governor ever making that decision for what's happening here.
If they're here beforehand, nothing will get out of control.
So I understand that, but that's not a decision.
They're coming. They're coming.
okay, let me ask, we have a few more people to make comments. Please be as respectful to these speakers as we were in the beginning of the meeting. Listen to what they have to say.
Isabel Ferreira, 20 Lippincott Avenue, Long Branch. I'm all about peace.
Isabel, could you lower the mic just a little? Thank you.
Isabel Ferreira, 20 Lippincott. 43 years in Long Branch, and I love Long Branch, and I think you're doing an awesome job. I don't know, I don't understand how a mayor or the administration gets blamed for something that people cause on social media. So I don't understand that. People are causing this. It's not you. It's not you. So I'm a school teacher, so I see the chaos that sometimes appears in the school. I'm a little more concerned on the Ocean Boulevard and traffic. There's ways to fix that. I think my solution would be giving tickets to anybody that's not respecting the law. And if it's juveniles, then give tickets to the parents. I don't know how to go about that, but giving tickets, I know I got a ticket in Interlaken once, and I never went around that town. I went all the way around so I wouldn't drive through Interlaken for a long time. Then I gave up. My concern is also driving my bicycle. I drive everywhere in town. I'm going to get hit. Somebody's going to die. And when somebody dies, then we're going to go to what should have been done. And I'm a little more concerned about that. I know you're putting new asphalt on Broadway. I've talked to you about this before, and I've talked to a few people about this. There should be bike lanes, or I think they call them sharrows. Something should be done for bikers, pedestrians, young kids riding their bikes all over town. Something should be done about that. Ticketing the parents, the kids are not going to care until their parents care. So that's my solution, and I think you're doing an awesome job. Thank you.
I'm sorry, excuse me?
Can I just make,
Can you state your name and address one more time, please?
Isabel Ferreira, 20 Lippincott Avenue.
Thank you.
Isabel, just so that you know, the city did submit an application for a study to be done for a citywide bike network.
I'm aware of it, yes.
Okay. So
Thank you, I
we
appreciate it.
haven't heard yet if we
I'm
got
just
it.
impatient.
But-
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, good. Thank you.
Hi, how are you guys doing? My name is Derek Rosado. I live on 2 Chelsea Avenue in Pier Village. I just want to say, thank you, council members. Thank you, Long Branch Police Department. You guys handled the situation with class and care. I really think you guys are put in a lose-lose situation, though, and I hope in the future there's some parameters to, circumvent that, at least something, because, I mean, honestly, I didn't really hear many answers into how we're going to stop this other than why we can't stop this. And, I'm a businessman. You try to get things done. That's not really how you get things done. My real question, though, is at what point does Pier Village Westminster management have a responsibility in keeping their buildings and private areas safe? I mean, the businesses lost millions of dollars. I mean, my girlfriend alone is accosted in the parking lots and parking garages almost on a weekly occurrence. I mean, it's crazy. Our rents are going up through the roof. There's no private security. I mean, have you guys been working with Pier Village? Have they expressed any, concern about what's going on? Because they issued a short email saying, really putting it on you guys, really putting on Long Branch Police Department saying that, hey, they're going to be here for the summer. And I just moved here probably in October. I heard last year that Pier Village had a plan to put private security, at least, to maybe work in coordinates with the police department to kind of help things. I mean, they are on the ground. They can give firsthand knowledge of what's happening. I mean, anyone with a phone could look up Twitter and look up anything that's going on. I mean, you could look in Long Branch and you could see, all these things that are planned in the next, 3 months. So it's not that difficult. But I guess my real question is that where do they fall? Have they been helping anyone? Have they been helping you guys? And what can we do to increase that?
Sure, so let me touch on that. Pier Village was very concerned from last year to this year. We've been working with them hand in hand. There's a lot more communication than was here in the past. Our officers are down there. You have some of them that are sitting here today that deal with them on a daily basis. I'm on a daily basis contact with the people of that organization. We advised them what was happening. Listen, there's also, we all remember you live there, so, they have a very big concern on what's going to happen and how we're going to protect them also, right? So we did everything with them. I know that the top management of that organization was there that day.
Okay.
And watching, we were getting phone calls from them, giving us information on where people were doing certain things. We were getting it to the officers to get there. So the question that you asked me, is there communication? Yes, there is.
Okay.
Can I answer the question about private security and what they're doing? That's a question for them.
I figured it. I was going to wait till after.
But
I thought
listen,
would come
I
through.
have no problem working with private security with my people down there.
Right. I mean, any more people is better.
They would, they've done it before, they work hand in hand with it. It's not just Pier Village.
Right.
Anywhere in the city they'll do it.
Okay. Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I'm going to put this down, I know, the routine.
Right.
Hani Burkett, 120 South 7th Avenue, lifelong, what do you call it? I'm so nervous today, I don't know why. Actually, my heart hurts because by accident, I saw a Pier Village commercial on YouTube. Have you seen it? It made me sick. Come to Pier Village in Long Branch and had a Long Branch police car. You want to get into a fight? You want to get raped? Come to Long Branch. And that's what I saw, and I went, oh my God. So my question is, do you have a social media department person to look through all this stuff?
We do. We not only have in-house, and that's a
Well, in this day and age, you do need one because, and also, I was kind of disappointed, Mayor, when you said we knew about this, we saw it. Well, knowing about it doesn't really mean diddly squat to me. And that's all I have to say, because I'm nervous.
Honey, I'm sorry. I don't know what you're specifically talking about, but know about it. In other words, we get these, last summer after the Juneteenth incident, we had 20 or 30 almost every weekend. So that's what I'm saying. We know about it. I think what the director was referring to is we don't know if it's actually going to happen or not. And in the case in the case of Saturday, I mean, what was the time frame again, director?
We originally got the post coming in 72 hours prior. Our detective unit, which is our intelligence unit that monitors social media, the county gang unit, the county sheriff's department, the New Jersey State Police run. They're the best of the best. They sent us information on Friday afternoon around 5:30 indicating that the only thing that we were seeing was an uptick in traffic between Monmouth County and Monmouth Beach and Long Beach. We still, listen, ladies and gentlemen, I can't say this enough. We have 90 police officers and now all working at the same time. We staffed that place down there with 56 because we took that precaution. Would it have been better not to put anybody down there? That's my question to you. We did what we have available to us. We held people over, we brought people in, and we went to the other avenues of what to do. The mayor's right. Listen, it's not just Long Branch. These pop-out parties go all over the internet. Listen, if I had that crystal ball, listen, we wouldn't have no pop-up parties. I don't have it. I have to go on intelligence. I got to go on information. I got to go on what's available to me in this city to do what I have to do. If I get a notification every single time and have to put $150,000 worth of employees out there, it's like we spoke about before. We're going to burn through this budget so quick that you ain't going to have no money to do anything else. Listen, this is not just Long Branch, folks. And you're right. The gentleman that was up there before, and he talked about look at other cities and other places. We had Virginia Beach. That was over 25 years ago. That's when they used to swarm down there with the motorcycles and the college kids. You know, you can sit here and try to develop strategies and do everything to implement, but if they don't show up on that day, yes, you did your job, right? They didn't show up. But if they do, you have to use what you have available and work with that. So, you know, I understand it. Listen, I get it. You know, in the town that I live in, the same thing. We've had our own problems. Listen, I'm a resident there. I don't like it. But you have to go by what's available to you and what the law allows you to do.
Yes, who's next?
Carol Hammer, 53 Passy Gardens. Most of what I wanted to say has been said. If I understand what your response was, we can't do anything about the trains. But as far as parking, could we do something with resident-only parking? I know my street was loaded, completely overrun. I've been to many festivals and there's no parking, I think it says by the police department. Could we just cover the town with that? I think people will get discouraged. They didn't all come by train. I think you realize that. So that was one thing. Another thing, I am so happy with the town tonight. They came here not in anger, but I think trying to give you suggestions. And yeah, that was one good thing that came out of tonight. The other thing I wanted to suggest, can we contact the cities that they're coming from? Could there be venues? You have to think out of the box at this point. Could there be venues in North Jersey? Avoid all the traveling, you know? And could those towns help us out in some way? I don't know. The only other comment that I had was that online it's getting really, what's the word? Divisive, I guess is the best word. And maybe, I don't know if you have a person who monitors that, but I just see more violence coming through online by our own people here. So I don't know if you have somebody Our lives have all been changed by the internet. And now, I'm sure you know, in sociology, they say there are now 6 types of riots. And 2 of those 6 are induced by the internet. You know, we always have had the collegiate parties getting, you know, out of hand, and that's called a riot. But now 2 of the riots are internet induced. And they start out okay, and you call it a beach party, but just listening to the words that we started with, I didn't hear one beach party word. They were all criminal acts, very upsetting in our town that we love. So good luck. It's a terrible, just a terrible problem that we've been put into.
Good. Thank you so much.
Dominic Sama, 527 East Street, Long Branch. I just want to thank the mayor and council once again for, you know, of course, having this meeting, everyone being here to unload all your solutions. I want to put in my perspective. I just actually came in from a dinner that I was indeed at the party for about a good hour in the afternoon. I walked right through it. I saw probably, I think mostly a lot of partying, just a lot of dancing, a lot of music, just everyone standing there having a good time. I think it was when the sun set and then I would say once the sun started moving toward the set and people started moving as far as fighting, stepping on the police car, that's when that police car vandalism happened. But I remember last year, Mr. Attorney, I saw the live video coming in that you mentioned last year that you guys had to keep preparing for pop-up parties that never happened. You know, that's pretty insane, the fact that you blow up that budget and you bring in all these officers for overtime for parties that never really come up. So I just want to extend my appreciation to Director Saldita, officers, for all you do, because I went up to a couple friends who are actually Class 3 officers, and I thanked them. I wanted to, and I really want to thank them again, you know, for everything that those guys do on the ground. You guys on the ground, you know, it isn't enough, and you can do only so much to prevent pop-up parties like this. 5,000 people coming in from all parts of the state, and I want to echo the woman who spoke before me. It wasn't just on the train that these kids came, and it was by car. I mean, I scrolled through TikTok. I'm a young person. I just turned 20 today, for God's sakes.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. So I get the liberty to understand this social media thing, go through TikTok, Instagram, and I get to see all these videos and pictures, and you know, some of it I love to see because it's dancing, it's people vibing, enjoying each other. You know, the majority of it was really a good thing in my view. The problem is that you have that select few that make it become a melee with, as far as fights, and again, breaking into police cars and stepping onto random residents' cars in the parking lot. Insane that, you know, I don't want to expand on it, but you see what they're doing in the videos. It's pretty nuts. And I mean, to be honest, I haven't really thought out a whole solution to it, but all I can say at this point is thank you guys for what you did. Thank you guys for what you are going to do as far as this next pop-up party. There is only so much you can do. Thank you for working with the state, with the county. Again, there's so much you can do as far as having 5,000 people and handling huge crowds like this and bringing as many officers as possible, blowing up the budget. But once again, thank you guys so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
You know,
Sure.
for folks to get up and leave.
If you want to close
You know, I sit here and, you know, throughout the years in law enforcement and politics and everything else, I've learned to grow some thick skin. When people want to speak, that's fine. But know what you're talking about before you ask for people's positions, before you ask for people to do more. Because let me tell you something, you don't know what we do here every single day. You want to learn, come sit with me. Just like I said to everyone in the beginning of this conversation. I was a director in some very major big cities that every day I dealt with this kind of environment, not on pop-up parties, but on a mother sitting in front of me with a dead son and wanted to know why we let it happen. There's a lot of violence that happens in this world. And what came to the city of Long Branch that day was wrong. And it was violence. And it came from a city where I used to work a lot. And I can tell you right now that these men and women work very hard for you. That administration up there works very hard for you. Listen, if there's suggestions, listen, we're open to listening. People went up to that podium and explained that this is the most open council they ever had in this city. For 28 years, from what I understand, and I wasn't here, you were shut out of council. You were shut out of the city. Now you have an opportunity to make a change. You know, as a young kid, I used to come to this town, President's Park, with my family from North New Jersey. I lived in the Ironbound section, Portuguese family. That's the only beach we knew. I remember this place when the boardwalk was here in the Haunted Mansion. And then I never seen Long Branch again. And I had the opportunity that Mayor Pallone and his council gave me when they interviewed for this position. I didn't come here for the glory or the fame. I didn't come here for the money. I came here because I wanted to still do police work and give these men and women the opportunity to learn from me. So listen, you want to call for my job, that's fine. Listen, I don't care who was here on the 21st or on the 19th of last year. It would have been the same outcome. It doesn't change. If that's what you feel is the person that's there, that event would have still happened. Those events would have still happened. You want to know we're very fortunate, and I knock on wood every day when I go to bed? We were fortunate. The first one, we had some things go bad. Yes, we did. Did we learn from that? Yes, we did. Are we going to implement? We have implemented the things. You know what? You want to know what they are? You come to me. Come sit with me. I'll show you. These men and women will tell you. But to sit here and we did nothing at all since last year, that's not a true statement. I'm sorry if people feel that way, but that's not true. We work very hard. You know, people sit here and talk about the county and they're wrong, this and that. Folks, you want to survive without the county. We're too small. We need those allies. We need people to help us. You know, those men and women that were out there last weekend and last July, you know, they put their lives on the line for everybody in this room. You know, when you talk about, you know, events that are happening and we're not well prepared, well, sir, you know, he wants to sit up here, Mr. LaFleur, and say to me that we didn't do this, we didn't do that. Listen, talk to the men and women on what we did. Ask them how crazy I drive them all day long to push them to do more and more and more. That's fine. Listen, you want to feel that way, that's fine. And everybody in this room is right. But you know what? I'm glad to see everybody in this room, because I sit in this room at many council meetings, and there's two people in there. Make sure you come to every council meeting.
Yeah, absolutely.
Listen, if you had time to get out of your house today and come here because you were frustrated and angry, come when you're happy and you have solutions also, right? Come here and listen to what's going on. The city is yours. You elect these officials and they give you a position to help you. Your voice is them. So please, come to these meetings. Send somebody you know. Because to have an empty room for months and months, 11 months on end, listen, I get it. You're here because something happened. But you know, within those 11 months, like you told me I didn't do none, nobody was here to do nothing either. And that's not to annoy anybody or disrespect. That's just telling you, as a taxpayer in my town, when something goes wrong, I go. I'm a cop for all these years, and you know what they say to me? Oh, here he comes. You know why? Because I know the law. Here he comes. Oh, we're going to have a long one. No, I'm not giving you a long one. I just want to know why I can't and down my block, why the loud mufflers are allowed, right? There's a lot of issues that folks look at us and think that we're past, we know it all, we ain't doing nothing because we don't want to. It's not true. We're all human beings, and we're all civilians also. So I thank you for tonight, listen, I applaud you. I ask of you that, God forbid, this happens again, do not interact with these folks. Go in your home, stay in your home, stay safe. Because all you need to do is interact with them. You may come out of your house because you're frustrated, somebody's going to pull with a bat. Lady said in this room, yes ma'am, there were guns here. They just didn't come out. But we had knives we took off of people, extendable batons off of people. Oh, they had guns. Listen, where I worked for 26 years of my life, in my career, they had guns. You can trust me.
So let me,
thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Director Saldidis. Let me jump in and ask for your endurance for just a little while longer. We have a little more official work to do, and then a chance for you to hear from the rest of the council too, just in terms of comments, because I know that there are a lot of feelings. Joe, stay with us. Stay with us. I need a motion right now to close the public portion part of the meeting.
So move.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Now I ask Madam Clerk if there are any changes to the list of resolutions.
No changes have been made.
Okay, thank you. We can take the listed resolutions as the consent agenda. I need a motion.
So move.
Second. Roll call, please.
Mr. Dangler is absent. Mr. Vieira?
Yes.
Mrs. Wittes?
Yes.
Dr. Selly?
Yes.
Dr. Vogt?
Yes. Applications, there are none. And moving to the miscellaneous business for the good of the order, and let me ask Councilman Vieira if he will start us off.
Good evening. First, I want to thank Imani for reading our resolutions for the Asian American. She did a very well job. Second, I want to thank the police for an awesome job they did. And also, let's not forget Stan of Public Works. Frustration has been coming out. I see it. I am frustrated. And I know some members said that we're quiet up here. Yes, our job is to be quiet and listen, and I applaud you for coming out tonight. And please keep doing it. We up here, our position is to put people in place to do their job. And that's the best things we can do to keep everybody safe. And that's what we did. That's why we have the director, we have the business administrator, we have the great men in blue. Our job is make sure the Long Branch people are safe. We are not professionals to tell you what we can do, what we can't do. We're just working people that live in Long Branch just like you, and our best interest is for the city of Long Branch. So with that, is that we put people in place to do the job. And we have people in place to do the job, and they're doing an awesome job. And again, I applaud you for coming out tonight. Please keep coming out. We appreciate you being here. Thank you and good night.
Thank you, Councilman Vieira. Councilwoman Wittes.
Good evening. Thank you, everyone. Sorry about the voice, but it's going a little bit. But I want to thank everyone for coming out this evening and expressing all your concerns. Many of the concerns that you have, we also have. Long Branch is a diverse community, and we all get along for the most part. And I just hope that the people that come in our town learn from us, and you know, we're showing them the example of how people can get along. And you know, we welcome people, but like the mayor said, if you're going to cause havoc, then you're not welcome into this town. Director Saldidis, you and your department did a great job. I want to thank you personally for that, for protecting us and making us feel safe, and for the Public Works for all the hard work that they do all the time. And we truly appreciate it, and thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Councilwoman Wittes. Councilwoman Selly.
Good evening, everybody. I look around the room and I say, boy, we have people in the city of Long Branch that really care. And it was nice to hear your complaints. I heard a couple of nice things. But you know, we listen. Believe it or not, you don't believe it, but we do listen to what you have to say. It's so nice to have a council chamber full of people, believe me. One thing I do want to say, I heard a lot of things tonight, and I hope you listened to what the director said and what our other professionals said. Why the train couldn't stop. Okay? There was a reason why. And if you came here tonight, you heard the reason why, or if you didn't, then that's too bad. But they gave you answers to some of the questions that I think everybody had. This is a wonderful town. I don't know if you realize it, but it really is. And wasn't born here, but I sure have been raised up. And I love Long Branch. I think we all do, and we all care. But let's keep it that way and do what we have to do. And I have one more comment, and I would be remiss if I didn't say that this is Memorial Day weekend, and please remember that. And we will have services on Monday, 9 o'clock at the Fireman's Field, and then we go down to the Reach, and we throw a nice wreath in the water, and then we go to, I forgot what. But anyway, then we come back here to City Hall. Oh, we go to Jerry Morgan Park and place the flowers, and then we come back to City Hall, and our students at in all of the classes, they have an essay contest, and they are awarded a $100 scholarship, which I think is wonderful. So with that, I've made my comments. Nice to see you. I hope you have a nice evening and a wonderful Memorial Day. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Selly. And Mayor Plone.
Thank you, Council President. And I'm not going to repeat what others have already said, but I honestly do feel, I'm glad you're here. This is really it's nice to see a group of people. It's nice to get your thoughts and your comments, and I think it was a very good back and forth. Director Saldid and police officers, thank you so much. Sure, it would be great if you come back and see us, but I also want to say that we're going to stay afterwards, as we always do, so if anybody has some additional questions or comments to talk to any of us, please do. And please give me a call, or any of the councilmen, because we always like to get back to you in person. Ms. Hammer, I don't know if you're still here, but I know you're on my list. I just have a whole bunch of calls, but if anybody calls the office and they like to speak to me or any of the council people, we always like to respond. So again, thank you for being here, and have a great Memorial Day weekend, holiday.
Thank you, Mayor Pallone. And I'd just like to make some comments. I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of Long Branch. A situation like this, with all the things that are happening, all the difficult things that are happening in our country, you hear over and over again, someone needs to do something, someone needs to do something. And the conversations that the administration has been having in terms of what can we do? I think you probably got the sense of how complex and difficult this is, and the exploration that they have been doing at every single level. It would have been wonderful if we could come here tonight and say, guess what, here's the answer. No other city in the nation has figured it out, but we figured it out. We don't have the answer yet, but this whole team is consumed with this 24/7, because it's the safety of our city, it's the safety of all of you, it's the most important thing that we can be doing. I love it. To me, it's all about leadership. And I just am so proud when I see leadership like this, and when I see us being able to be a part of that leadership. And my pride in this meeting could have just as easily disintegrated into chaos, right? But Everyone was professional, everyone was respectful, everyone was thoughtful, everyone had suggestions that you know, everybody was writing them down, and you know that we're going to be dealing with it. And so I'm so proud of you. With that, my thanks for coming. Please keep coming, because we need to keep hearing. We need to keep interacting. Have a very thoughtful Memorial Day in remembrance of all of the people who gave their lives and who fight for us all the time for our precious freedom. Thank you and good night. And what?
We need to adjourn.
Yeah, I know, that's what I'm going to do right now. And right now, I need a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Thank you. Good night. So, I think what could have been difficult